You're listening to Make Some Noise, Minisode number 540. Welcome to Make Some Noise podcast, your guide for strategies, tools, and insight to empower yourself. I'm your host, Andrea Owen, global speaker, entrepreneur, life coach since 2007, and author of 3 books that have been translated into 18 languages and are available in 22 countries. Each week, I'll bring you a guest or a lesson that will help you maximize unshakable confidence, master resilience, and make some noise in your life. You ready? Let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast, a Minisode. And I've been sort of hinting that this particular episode is going to have an announcement. Well, I didn't really hint. I came right out and told you that it was going to be an announcement. And I am going to try to keep this short, partly because I have to. I tend to go off on tangents. Have we met? I tend to go off on tangents, and I can't for this one. So I have notes that I am going to do my best to stick to. And this is going to be a very hard episode to record. I've been postponing it and obviously procrastinating even now, just coming right out and saying it. And I'm recording this before I leave on a vacation with my kids. I'm going back home to San Diego to spend time with my mom and stepdad and my sister and friends and other family. And we'll be at the tail end of that when this drops on July 21st, 2023, for those of you that are listening to it in the future. And as probably most of you know, if you've been listening to this show for a while, I have been married to my second husband, Jason, for a long time, since 2008. We got married. And after 10 months of committed therapy for most of 2022, in January of this year, in January of 2023, we decided to end our nearly 15-year marriage. And out of respect to him and our children, I won't disclose the details of the reasons we split, but will speak in vague ways and talk about my part, the things I acknowledge that contributed to the end. Because again, I want to respect his privacy. He's a very private person, and I've always been so transparent with you all. And this is one of those instances where I just can't be. Because there's another person involved that I care about, and I care about respecting their privacy. So the number one reason, and really truly the biggest reason, is that I evolved. I grew and I changed. I am not the same person. I'm not the same woman that I was in 2008 or 2007, actually, when we met and the person that he fell in love with. I started to change slowly in the beginning. And that's when I started my own personal development journey. When I met him in 2007, I was traumatized and in a bad place. And I truly had just stepped my foot in to personal growth. And really in earnest started to push through around 2009 and 2010. And then I started to change even more in 2011 when I got sober. If anyone has followed my sobriety journey, I got sober in May of 2011 and then had a relapse in September. And that whole year was a lot of work in and around recovery. And we both tried to adjust to this new me. It was challenging for both of us, but we committed, honestly, mostly for our kids. They were little at the time. And then the years went on and my evolution picked up speed in 2016 when my dad died. For those of you that have been with me that long and remember those podcast episodes, my dad passing away was the first loss I had ever had like that. And that grief was at times insurmountable and really pushed me to develop new skills, and it changed me. And then in 2017, when the Me Too movement happened, it rocked me. And I, again, continued to evolve and change. And then the pandemic happened. And I got sick with an autoimmune disorder that went undiagnosed for 18 months. And in that time, I wrote Make Some Noise. And writing that book, as it has been the case with all of my books, really, but writing that book made me not be able to unsee some things that I needed to change in my life. I wrote that book as a love letter to my daughter, but in many ways, I suppose it was a love letter to myself. And if you read that book, you probably can see that, at least in some of the chapters. And the bottom line, or at least what I'm able to share here with you, is, of why we made the decision to split up, was this. In order to make the marriage work, both of us would have had to fundamentally change who we are as people. And when we first met, we were perfect for each other. We saw in each other what we both needed at that time, and it worked. And it worked until it didn't. Shopify's already taken the cash register online, helping millions sell billions around the world. But did you know that Shopify can do the same thing at your retail store? Give your point of sale system a serious upgrade with Shopify. With Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth. Track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock. Connect with customers inline and online. Shopify helps you drive store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns from TikTok to Instagram and beyond. Get hardware that fits your business. Take payments by smartphone, transform your tablet into a point of sale system, or use Shopify's POS Go mobile device for a battle-tested solution. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/noise, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/noise to take your retail business to the next level today. Shopify.com/noise. I have definitely been in that place where my paycheck ran out before the next one got here. Life doesn't happen bi-weekly, so why should payday? The money you earn can be in your hands today with Earnin. Earnin is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the Earnin app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. You can use Earnin to pay for a girls' night out, a last-minute gift for a loved one, or even summer camp for the kids. Make Earnin a part of your financial routine and join Earnin's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about Earnin, I think about financial stability, security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. Download Earnin today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, type in Noise under podcast when you sign up. It really, really helps the show. Noise under podcast. Subject to your available earnings, location, daily max, and pay period max. See earnin.com/TOS for details. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. What I had to come to realize, and I realized this in therapy, and our therapist asked me in one of our sessions, he said, are you able to truly accept him for who he is? The human that he shows up as in the world. And I said, yes, I am able to do that. And if I do that, I cannot be married to him. And while I can't speak for him, I can say I would never want him to stay married to me if he struggles to accept who I am. And as this has transpired, it has kicked up all of my stuff. This we decided in January. And as I record this, it is the very end of June. It has kicked up all of my stuff about being picked and the stigma and shame around this being my second divorce, and shame around being a self-help author and speaker and not being able to save my marriage. Gratefully, as I write this to you, I've again had many months to think about this and start to heal. And it's given me an immense opportunity to lean as hard as I can into self-compassion, to fully understand and embrace choosing myself for really once in my life, to listen to my intuition and to trust myself fully, and to not walk away from my soul. And I wish I could share more details with you, but at this time I can't. Eventually I will. North Carolina divorce laws are weird. And at least for now, I need to keep some things private. But soon I'll be able to tell you what the last, 7-ish months have brought me. And by the time I'm able to share it with you, I'll have even more insight. There are already enormous learning lessons that I hope will be helpful for many of you. And I think, this isn't in my notes, but I'm trying to keep this under 10 minutes. But I think if you're listening to this and you're in that place where you're trying to decide if you should stay or if you should go. And I don't know, maybe you have kids and it just is such an enormous responsibility to make this difficult decision. And when you think about leaving, it feels incredibly selfish, or maybe people have told you that it's selfish for you to go. And you know how I always say, you have to get to that tipping point where doing the harder thing slightly feels like less pain than doing the other hard thing that you've been doing for so long that has somehow felt comfortable and muscle memory. My hope is that you get to that tipping point where to stay feels like complete and utter self-abandonment. That even though it's so fucking sad and the logistics are a complete and utter nightmare, the pain of pushing down and choking to death your own soul, you just can't bear it anymore. You can't. That to continue to walk away from yourself and your life and your heart is just gut-wrenching, is more gut-wrenching than walking away. And yeah, there's incredible amounts of fear around how am I going to do this on my own? Logistically, financially, emotionally, all of it. How am I going to do it alone? I don't know. I don't know. As I'm recording this, I'm I don't fucking know. I just am, I keep telling myself and my friends, I'm going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how any of us are going to do this, but we're going to figure it out. Millions and millions and millions of women have done this before me. And I lean on that so much. I take all of the lessons that I tell you guys all the time. I'm resourceful, I'm capable, I'm smart. I can do this. I have moments of complete terror, and mental breakdowns. And I also have moments where I feel completely at peace and finally free. And I know that there's going to be another tipping point where the feelings of just complete and utter confidence and freedom are going to outweigh the feelings of uncertainty and terror. The terror isn't quite as much anymore. A little bit of panic here and there, that's for sure. But I have anxiety. So that's just par for the course. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, and I love you, and I'm thinking of you, and it just fucking sucks. It sucks. It does. There's just no two ways around it. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go. Thank you for listening. I love you. We will get back to regularly scheduled programming on Wednesday. But of course, eventually this will be a topic that I'll get more into. But for now, I think I'm just going to mention it here and there. Again, okay, I'm going to stop talking. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks again for listening. I would be so incredibly grateful if you haven't done so already, if you could leave a review of this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Super easy if you already listen to your shows over there. But if you don't, or maybe you have the app on your phone, but you listen to the show on a different app, if you could leave a review for this show, it matters so much. I wish I could express how much it matters. I also wish that it didn't matter so much, but alas, it does. So if you haven't already, please go review and rate the show. It would mean so much to me. And thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing day.
I'd like to introduce you to the Minimalist Moms podcast. It's hard enough being a mom, and the last thing you need is stress from too much stuff and an overcrowded schedule. For too long, I lived with the mindset that bigger was better, and the more I added to my life, instead of feeling better, I felt overwhelmed. It was time for a radical new mindset. Less is more. I'm not into extremes. I didn't throw everything away. My brand of minimalism is more about adding than subtracting. Get rid of the excess to make room for what you love. In other words, it's about living life with purpose. I hope you'll listen in, and my guest and myself can inspire you to think more and do with less. The Minimalist Moms podcast, available wherever you listen to podcasts.